Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and welcome to a return, I guess, of the old series of Why We Can't Have. And this is kind of going to be taking a very broad look at games and things in games and all that. It's going to be a very broad series. I think the previous iteration of it was a little bit too specific. So this is the return of Why We Can't Have, and this is Why We Can't Have Fractured Space. Now, if you haven't seen what Fractured Space is all about, I have a video of it from quite a while back. I think it was last year that I put this video up. I'll leave a link to it down in the description or in the comments somewhere for you to go and check that out. That is basically my first impressions of the game, and it was, at the time, I really enjoyed it. But as I've tried to return to it, as part of what I'm doing this year of just having a look at games that I've covered before, or played before, and trying to have a look at how they've come along, or what's changed, kind of like a re-review, I guess, I went to try to play Fractured Space again, and one of the issues is, there's nobody playing this game. And I tried to figure out why. Why is it that this game doesn't seem to be doing that well? After all, it looks really good. And it has a very interesting game mode, and I think that's really engaging and really entertaining. But there's nobody playing it. And, well, I'm going to pick it apart right now and show you exactly why I believe that is happening and what can be done about it. So, as of, and this is according to Steam charts, so this is just people playing it through Steam. I don't know if you can play this outside of Steam, but maybe somebody in the comments might actually know more about that than I do. As of right now, there are, well, as of 12 minutes ago, I'm looking at this on Steam charts, there are 156 people playing. Now, it might be an off-peak number, but it had a 24-hour peak of 438 and an all-time peak of 6,000. Now, release timing probably had something to do with that, at least with regards to the all-time peak, but its current peak players are nowhere near that number, and a lot of people have left, and it seems like there could be a very good explanation for that. So what you see here is the hangar screen. And these are the ships that I currently have. Now, when you start off this game, I believe you just have one of each manufacturer. That's the USR, the Zarek, and the Titan ships. So now, you start off with the Sentinel, the Venturer, and the Pioneer. At least I believe that's what you start off with. And, well, ship balance aside, these ships are not enough for you to fully understand the game. You have an offense ship, or at least the Pioneer is kind of a jack of all trades, at least the way I see it, but some people might disagree with that. The Zarek is also an offense ship, and the Sentinel is also an offense ship. And these are all medium ships, so it's kind of like if you imagine a game like World of Tanks starting you off with only medium tanks and nothing else. And then putting you in matches where you can get up to... You can get into games with teams made up of any of these ships, depending on what people bring in. Yeah. That doesn't quite make sense. And then the game mode itself is a bit like a MOBA. You can't switch your ships once the game has started. So if your team composition is lacking a particular type of ship, for example, you have no support ships, such as these, Disruptors, or we have a look at the Zarek, we have ships like the Paragon. If you don't have any support ships, you can't then bring them in after. Which is kind of a core mechanic of a lot of these MOBA-like games. The problem is, what if you're a new player, and you don't have access to these ships anyway? Furthermore, you start off with a limited amount of currency. Now, I don't know if everyone starts off with the same amount. I started off this game with a Founders Pack, so I had more currency to begin with. I don't know if that would have given me that much more of an advantage, since I was able to purchase the Colossus, which is a heavy defense ship. Kind of think of it like your sort of tanks in typical MOBAs, I guess. And I was able to buy the Leviathan, again, another heavy defense ship. All of these things, all these ships all play very differently, and I have to wonder if the new players then don't have access to these things. Furthermore, there's also the crews. Crews themselves provide a small amount of bonuses. You can actually see here 4% attack damage, 3% fire rate. All of these boosts are from the different crew members, and all of these crew members, and this is going to be a little bit confusing, but if you go to get more crew, you can see that you actually get them through these crew pods. And these cost quite a lot of money. A single pod, let's just have a look at that there. I don't know if you can quite see it, but it's 134,000 credits. Yeah, 134,000 credits. Not a lot of credits at all. And if we go up to the 10 crew pods, that's 1.2 million. Now, what this gets you is a crew blueprint. So you'll get the sort of blueprint in your inventory here, but you don't own that crew member, and you can't use them yet until you spend DNA, which is this amount of currency here. And that's used to craft a new crew member. So a bit of a confusing system, but ultimately that just adds another currency to use and another element to grind for. And when I say grind, I really do mean grind. When I first started playing this, the rewards that you might see in the first impressions video, which again I highly recommend you go and watch, the rewards that you got back then are nowhere near the same as what you get now. So, as far as I can tell from the reviews that people are leaving on Steam, in order to get anywhere in this game right now, you would have to then play almost double the amount of time. Yeah, so that's a problem, and it certainly doesn't help that if we go to play, if we want to actually earn anything, we have to go to PvP. So let's just go into casual mode. I'm level 10, I believe, or something like that. I don't have custom matches available. Ranked mode is still not in the game yet, not that that would matter so much. So we go into casual mode, you can see these are the sort of active loot drops. Now these will give you anything from crew pods to random cosmetics. All of these require you to play a certain number of games. And the reason why it only says play a certain number of games, because that is an achievement on its own, frankly. So, average wait time, 2 minutes 55. Now, every single time that I've gotten into this game over the last 6 months and tried to play, I've been in the queue for about 6 to 10 minutes, and still not found a game. And that's considering that's the main game mode, which is Conquest, and Frontline here is kind of like an ARAM mode, or Arena in Smite, where there are no lanes. So, you don't get into matches, and you can't play the game. And that's going to frustrate a lot of people. So, the only thing you can really do is go into solo mode and play. Now, I'm going to just put up some footage in the background here of a match that I played a while back, just to give you an idea of what the game plays like. But basically, the game is a 2-lane MOBA with multiple objectives to capture, as well as a single area called Gamma in the middle, which provides you effectively the jungle buff of a typical MOBA. So if you go into that, you get bonuses to damage, bonuses to capture rate, and so on. And all of these will be active at a certain time in the match itself. So you'll get a warning when it's about to go live, and then everyone can jump into it, capture the station in the middle, and be granted that buff for, I believe it's about 3 minutes or so. That's, or about 180 seconds. I'm not entirely certain what it was, but yeah, it's not particularly long, but it is enough to turn the tide of a battle. In addition to that, the victory conditions also involve capturing the enemy base, and to do that, you'll have to capture the final station in each lane. So if you want to jump from Alpha Lane, which is the lane on the left side of the map, if you want to jump from Alpha Lane to the enemy station, you'll have to capture the final station at Alpha. And the same goes for Beta Lane as well. So in order to actually win the game, you'll have to capture all of these, and that requires a certain amount of teamwork. Now, it is a 5v5 game, if I remember right. And based on that, you do need effective team composition in order to make a difference. For example, ships like the Ghost class, for example, are assassins. They're very good at flanking, they're very good at counter-attacking, and getting in and out very quickly. Those sorts of ships tend to be more effective against the heavy defense or the offense ships such as the snipers. Ships that have much longer range. And these are kind of the hard counters. So effectively, as a player of something like an Overseer, which is the basic sort of sniper class, you may feel like you can't do anything against these hard counters, and that's just the nature of the game. It takes very effective piloting to really have a chance against any of these when that is effectively your hard counter, and that's where the team really needs to pay attention and protect each other. Furthermore, teamwork is especially important when attacking the enemy base, because the base itself has base defenses, and you're expecting most of the enemies to either warp back home or to basically warp straight in there when they respawn. And that's going to cause some problems if you go and try to take the base solo. So effective team composition and teamwork will make a big difference here. But the game itself, I still find really compelling. I know it's probably going to be hit or miss either way. It's the reason why I'm even making this video is because I really enjoyed my time with this game, but I can understand that people are not going to want to get back into it, especially a very loyal fanbase who feels a bit left out because of the changes to the reward system and the additional things that you would then have to, I suppose, grind for. That's not really something anybody wants to have to do. Now, if you're a fan of this game, of course, I definitely feel for you. I would want to see this game succeed, but unfortunately right now, there are a lot of problems that need addressing. So, first things first, I want to talk about how we can get this game back on track. For one thing, having a look at some more successful MOBAs, games like League of Legends, Smite, and Dota 2, you can see there are some elements of these games that Fractured Space could definitely benefit from. One of the more obvious features is a free weekly rotation. Now, if you get into this game and want to play a particular class, you have no idea how the class plays out without going into the sort of test flight mode. You can go into it's a form of sort of training mode, really. It's a firing range where you can try out any of these ships. However, as many players will agree, just being able to play a ship in a sort of simulated environment with no danger whatsoever will never really give you a good idea of how well that ship will play. And if you're going to grind out, let's say, anywhere between 300,000 to 900 or more thousand credits for a particular ship, you want to know that the investment is worth it. So, one suggestion that I do actually have that I think Fractured Space will definitely benefit from is a free weekly rotation of ships. Ships that can be used for free in any battle, and anyone can pick up and play. And if they so choose, they can offer a sort of discount of maybe 20% off, or even up to 50% off the price of these ships for that particular week. And having that sort of weekly rotation will allow people to experience more types of ships and be able to own more of them in the long run. So, if you want a particular class, you can wait for it to hit weekly rotation, try it out, and if it's your thing, buy it there and then. And this also comes into effect because these ships are available for Platinum, which is the paid in-game currency. And this paid currency would then mean that if people just want to put the money down and buy the ship, that they can benefit from some sort of discount as well for that week. Now, it's up to the developers if they really want to do that. Of course, I can understand that it may seem like it's going to cut into the earnings quite a bit, but frankly, you need to really get the player base back for the game to be worthwhile anyway. As somebody who really enjoys the game, I think, honestly, having a chance to try out different ships in combat would actually make a lot of difference. The other option I have for them, of course, is something such as this, where if we go into play mode, there is a solo and a co-op mode where you play against the AI. Now, a solo mode could actually allow players to learn the maps and ships, so you could, in actual fact, have a sort of training mode in there where players can play any mode they want, with any ship they want, even pick the AI ships, and just go. You could even remove the rewards from that mode so that people can try them out. Now, I'm just offering examples of ways that players can try out the ships before they buy them in a more effective environment. In addition to that as well, cosmetics are nice. I do like that they're available. Maybe some more customization options might be nice, but this would help to reward players who are already playing. On top of that, the crew. I honestly would prefer if you could just buy the crew DNA, or rather the crew templates, straight up for credits, instead of just having to worry about getting them in a loot drop. I think, honestly, that would make more of a difference. Now, there are two different drops that you can get. You can buy them in the store, or you can get them in your daily login reward, or through the victory rewards as well. If you complete the play X number of games per day, then you get your crew pods that way. I would actually prefer if we could just buy the crew templates directly, so that we know which crews we want. This would actually help with facilitating the building of particular crew decks for each particular ship, because of course we know that not every single crew setup will be beneficial to every ship. So what would probably be better is if we could actually just swap them out for particular ships where necessary, and have access to the crew members that we need for those particular ships. Now, the DNA can stay. DNA as a currency can stay if we were able to just buy the crews that we needed, instead of having to rely on RNG. I think it would take a lot of the player frustration out, while allowing players to still be able to have some sort of reward for their efforts. So that's one way of maybe cutting out the grind, in a way. After all, you can buy ships directly. I feel like you should be able to buy crew directly as well. And of course, the quote-unquote better crew members might actually be balanced better with having a higher DNA cost to build, or something similar like that. And you can balance it out accordingly. And of course, having weekly sales and rotations will definitely factor into that as being a way of rewarding players for playing. Now, I don't know if the developers are ever going to watch this, and I don't know if they're going to listen. I have no idea. I haven't really worked very closely with them ever before, so if you are a player of Fractured Space, or if you're interested in seeing this game do well, if you're interested in getting into this game, but you're worried that it may not be particularly good, then first, go and watch my first impressions. But the second thing I would ask people to do is try to reach out to the developers if possible. I understand that a lot of people are trying to give them feedback through the discussions pages in the Steam's forum section. I have actually looked at those, and I can see that there is a lot of player frustration, and people are trying to get their feedback heard by the developers. I would encourage you then to make sure this video reaches them as well. And of course, it would also help, if you're going to do that, if you leave your thoughts in the comments below as well. If you have more suggestions on how this game can be improved and bring players back in, beyond just having free weekends on Steam, then please put it down in the comments below. The ultimate aim of this is just, from one fan of a game to another, please just make sure that these discussions get heard. I don't want to see the game die off completely. I don't want to see the game just fade away because, you know, the issues weren't getting resolved. I do want to see players be able to get back into the game, and of course new players be interested or introduced to the game in ways that maybe haven't been tried before. But, you know, this is just wishful thinking on my part. I'm just a person who enjoyed this game to begin with, so, you know, what do I know? But yes, do try to leave your feedback down in the comments below. Make sure, if you can, get this video to the developers. I will be trying to reach out to them if I can, but I would rather leave it to the players rather than, you know, have myself as a so-called influencer try to make that decision for them. There are far more experienced players in this game than I am, and if you are very experienced with the game, of course, your feedback will definitely be very much appreciated, I think. So yeah, that's really it from me. I'm sorry this has been quite a rambly video, but it's just gotten to the stage where I have wanted to play this game so often and just not even been able to get into a match. And I feel like this game has a lot of potential, and it may wind up being a missed opportunity otherwise. So yeah, hopefully this helps, and leave your thoughts down below. Of course, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. My name is Panzer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.